Hello, this is Kate, the Daily Tarot Girl, and welcome to your weekly tarot card reading. So for this week's reading, I'm using my Everyday Witch tarot deck, and my intention with the reading this week is to draw 3 cards. Each card is going to represent a portion of the upcoming week, and I just want to see what kinds of energies, what kinds of opportunities may lie in store for us this week. So before I dive in, I just want to remind you that I am still offering personalized private tarot readings right now. So if you want your 2026 year ahead tarot reading with me, you can order your reading below. I'm only going to be offering these for like a few more days, and then I'm going to close it down until the summertime. That's the other time of the year that I offer readings. So I only offer readings a couple times a year. So if you want to get a reading with me, now is a great time. Okay. So first card for the beginning of the week, Monday-ish. And we have the King of Swords at the beginning of the week. So the King of Swords, he's very discerning. He's very intelligent. And he's very focused, and he pays attention to detail. So he has this unique ability to pay attention to details, but to know what details are important and what details you can ignore or tune out. So he knows how to focus, and again, that's where that term discernment comes in. He knows how to discern, what is important, what isn't important. And so that is the message at the beginning of the week. You need to prioritize and hone your focus skills so that you're focusing on the things that really matter and the things that really carry weight. And you're not focusing on all those little details that maybe aren't super important in the long run. So the King of Swords challenges you at the beginning of the week. He's saying, get your priorities straight and figure out, what are you going to focus on this week? What's important? What is deserving of your attention? And what things can just kind of stay on the sidelines for now? King of Swords, he's also I would say he's a very good communicator. The Suit of Swords has to do with communication, and the King of Swords is a very good communicator. And the reason why he's a good communicator, number one, he is direct in his communication style, but he says what needs to be said, and he keeps things simple. So like when he writes an email, he just says what's important, what needs to be said. He doesn't explain himself 10 times or give examples for every little thing. Like he kind of keeps it short and sweet and says the bare minimum. So I get this message that when it comes to communication this week, less is more. Just figure out what's important, what needs to be said, and say it in the most simple and direct way, rather than being super flowery, explaining yourself, beating around the bush, sugarcoating. Really keep things as simple as they can be when it comes to communications this week, whether that's in conversation, in spoken communication, written, texting, emails, phone conversations, whatever form of communication you're giving, or even if you're like a teacher and you're teaching, how can you get the point across with less words, not more words? Let's look at card number 2. So this is for the middle of the week, Wednesday, Thursday-ish. And here we have the 2 of Pentacles. Now let's just zoom in a little here. So 2 of Pentacles, this is a card of balance and the importance of having things in balance. It's also a card of busyness and keeping things moving, keeping things going without losing your center. So we see the witchy lady on the teeter-totter, and she's perfectly balanced. She's centered her weight, and she's balanced. Now, this cat is just jumping on the one end, which is threatening to throw things off balance. But who knows? Maybe she'll be able to maintain that balance. Maybe she sees the cat out of the corner of her eye and she's already shifting her weight to the other side to counteract it. So Two of Pentacles is saying that this might be a busy week for you. So being centered is going to be important. And getting into the flow. So going with the flow, getting centered in yourself and being able to go with the flow, roll with the punches. I'm drawn to this figure 8 symbol at the top of the card. And the figure 8 symbol is the infinity symbol, but it's also about flow, like just tracing this shape. It goes around and around and around. So there is this sense of flow and constant movement and flux. So midweek, things might be a bit busy. You might find that you're constantly doing things, focusing on things. Things are constantly moving. And so it's going to be important midweek to really focus on getting centered, maybe getting into a bit of a flow state. The more centered you are within yourself, the more you can withstand those surprises and things being added to your plate and unexpected events that you didn't plan for. So asking yourself, how can I get centered? Like, what helps you stay centered, particularly when things are busy? Because I think it's easy to be grounded and centered when there's not much happening. But when things are really busy, like, how do you stay grounded and centered? And I want to point out, she actually isn't really grounded because she's actually above the ground here. So she's above the ground. Her feet aren't on the ground, but she is centered and balanced. So what is going to help you do that? What kinds of things are going to support you in doing that this week? Let's look at the last card. So this is for the weekend, end of the week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday-ish. And we have Queen of Swords. What a perfect spread here. Both the King and Queen of Swords. What are the chances of that? That's amazing. So the Queen of Swords, she is also a master communicator. So she's very good at communicating. I think of the Queen of Swords as being... Sometimes she comes across as being cold, just like the King of Swords. The King and Queen of Swords are not like the most fun people in the court. Like, I don't picture them laughing a lot or being silly. Like, they tend to be kind of serious and a little bit cold, but they're very efficient, and they're very good at organizing and communicating and keeping things clear and streamlined. So the Queen of Swords is here at the end of the week to help you get clarity on some things. And she's encouraging you to journal. So I say that because she's holding this feather pen and she's got her scrolls. And I don't know why the term journaling popped into my head and not letter writing or something like that. But I feel like the Queen of Swords is saying it's time that you got clarity on some things. And the weekend is a perfect time for this. Set aside a few minutes or an hour and do some journaling, do some writing, have a conversation with your soul, with your higher self. And writing is a form of, for me, writing things down is my favorite form of communicating with my higher self. So I love to journal. That really helps me like process things and get clear on things, figure things out. And I feel like the Queen of Swords is encouraging you to do something along those lines this weekend. So using journaling, using writing as a way to process something and get clear on it. And she's holding her sword straight up, and it's like she is totally fearless when it comes to cutting cords and cutting away all the nonsense, all the distractions that don't need to be there. So she has this like real clearing energy, and I picture the castle that she's sitting in is like very airy and breezy. The wind is coming through, like it's very airy and breezy and spacious. So clearing clutter, and not necessarily physical clutter, although that could be helpful, but clearing mental clutter more than anything. The Suit of Swords is all about the realm of mind and intellect, And we all probably have a lot of mental clutter, whether that's old belief patterns, thoughts, perspectives that we're ready to kind of release and let go of. Okay, so, and I want to say also the Queen of Swords kind of echoes what I said about the King of Swords, about the importance of communicating in this direct and clear style this week. Okay, so let's look at all three cards together and chime in here. Feel free to leave me some comments. Let me know what you think about these cards. Like what do you think is the significance of both the King and Queen of Swords being here? Like what's your take on that? Feel free to share in the comments. Okay. So let's see. I'm just looking to see if there's any repeating symbols or themes that I want to draw attention to. I feel like I've mentioned pretty much everything. I think that for many of us, this could be a busy week, and it could be a week where one thing that's going to help you center yourself, ground yourself, and go with the flow amongst the busyness is communicating clearly. It's almost like if you can communicate directly and clearly with people, that is going to trim like 50% of the busyness and stress and all that from your life. Like clear communication makes less work for you in the long run. So I think that's a big piece of this. In order to keep things moving and to keep things going, clear communication is key. And staying mentally focused. So it's easy to get distracted if you have a lot on your plate. So staying focused on what matters and what's important, and not allowing yourself to get sidetracked this week. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, I'm going to wrap the reading up here. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching. My name's Kate. I'm also known as the Daily Tarot Girl. And please like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It really helps my channel out and I appreciate it so much. And again, if you want a private reading with me, I'm going to put the link in just below the video, and I'll also put it, I'll pin it as a top comment under this if you want to get a private reading with me. So thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful week.